Hello all. First of all, welcome to this pharmacovigilance course. As I think some of you already attended the introduction session, which I gave 2 or 3 days ago. So I hope that some of you are aware of about the importance and the future in this pharmacovigilance. Still, not an issue. During this entire course, going to provide you more and more information about the opportunities, about how to enter into the field, about the industry, and a lot of things we are going to share. So by the time you are going to finish this course, believe me, you are going to be like kind of that you are already working in the industry, something like that you have started feeling. So you will not feel that you are new to the PV course or PV thing. So, and usually we are going to do the interaction. So I have the same aspect that we are usually interacting with each other, and that is the best way to to resolve the issues, queries, and all this thing. It's nothing like how we are actually doing chat today. I will take you through this course, pharmacovigilance course overview. Just a few things. During the entire course might be after the major chunk of portion when we are going to finish like our introduction session, the basics and something, I'm going to ask some of you the questions in the very beginning of the session, the next session, so that we can understand that if we are really revising the course, if we're really understanding the course. It's nothing like a test, but yes, it is like a quiz or something like that we are going to do just orally, so that we can understand. If we have any questions, we can clear it out on that those doubts. And please always feel free to stop me to ask the question. In case if I'm going to discuss any important topic, I'm going to tell you in the very beginning that we are going to start an important topic, and as soon as I'm going to stop or take a pause, I will take your questions. So that's the best way I think to go uninterrupted on any topic. Okay, so quickly, as the first day, let me take you through this pharmacovigilance course overview. Let me tell you that what we are going to cover and this entire time. So this whole course is basically divided in such a way in those important folders you can see over here, that we are going to first go with the basic drug discovery and development a bit. I will tell you that what is the importance in the PV for each aspect whenever we are going to start those aspects. Regulatory aspects of PV, where we are going to understand about the more like what are the regulatory bodies, what are the guidelines and all those things. Reporting criteria to health authorities, what are the timelines, criterias, serious, non-serious, whatever. So we are going to discuss those things, very important. PV database is one of the very important section. Please don't miss that section. In case if you are still quite busy in your other works, please make sure that this section you are going to attend very keenly. You have to be very attentive, because that is the backbone of the whole PV, this particular course part. Drug and ADR dictionaries, there are various dictionaries we are going to see as an overview, so that we can have always in our mind whenever we are going in the future to understand that which dictionary we are going to use and what is the importance. Okay, causality assessment is another thing. We are going to understand the very important part, that is the causality, how we are going to assess the cases, how the doctors are actually doing assessing the cases. There are scales which we need to know. So that is very important part. And narrative writing, that is another last section. It's not a very big section, but yes, we need to know this thing. Uh, Apart from that, this course will go approximately 2 months, somewhere by the month, by the Diwali, we can say. I think by that time we are going to be sound enough to say that yes, we already know PV and kind of we are certified with the PV. Okay. And believe me, during this entire course, it is going to be so much interactive. We are going to do many adverse event reporting. I'm going to give you the cases. You need to come up with the things that how the adverse event report form will come up. Your understandings will go better every day. So these are the major topics. We are let me tell you the in between things what we are going to cover. So in the introduction to the drug discovery and development, we are going with the basics, that is discovery and development, preclinical research, clinical research, then the drug review and post market drug safety. monitoring. Yes, we are going to understand the last part, that is post-marketing drug safety monitoring. That is basically more or so the PV. But PV actually starts somewhere the time the drug comes into the clinical. So that's why we need to understand all those things also, at least basics. I'm not going very much in depth, but yes, we have to spend few days to understand these topics. Reason being, in interviews, in the in the beginning days when you are actually struggling to enter into the industry, these things are going to be checked first, because they think that you are not very much experienced with the PV, but you should know this basic thing. So that's why these things you have to keep one side in your mind. Apart from that, we are going we are going to be introduced with the PV, the basic concept, the histories, the definitions. So we are going to make the base before we actually dive in the PV. The thing, career opportunities, I have shaded in the blue. That is, actually, it is something which is a common part, not the part of only introduction to PV. So maybe in a very descriptive, we are going to complete this in the end. But yes, this is a topic which I am usually touching it with every topic or whenever it is required. So it is not a very important topic for this particular set. It can be covered in any set. PV database, we are going to cover everything what actually the PV softwares or what the actual PV work is, the case processing work is actually done in the industry. Regulatory aspects of pharmacovigilance, we are going to understand those WHO, UMC, CIOMS, ICH, GCP guideline, European pharmacovigilance systems. So there are many different regulatory authorities. We have to understand that what are their PV segments, what we need to understand. Then there is a reporting criteria to health authorities and timelines and aggregate reports. We see case processing or ICSR, individual case safety report, is only one part. Then there comes very other parts, which is called as aggregate reporting. There are other types of reports. So this is the topic where we are going to cover all those small important topics. Okay, then there comes the signal reporting, which is another part of PV, another different module of PV, which is actually not covered as per our whatever the paper we received or whatever the schedule we received from the BCRI. But doesn't matter. I'm not going to leave any single topic. You are going to be very sound enough when you're going to complete this course. So signal we are going to understand, risk management and risk minimization also, that is RMP, I'm going to touch. Okay, so all the terms you are going to be aware of while you are going to complete this course. And the drug dictionaries, there are many drug dictionaries. I'm going to cover those ADR classifications, all these things. And then the causality assessment. So there are scales, not only these skills, there are other skills which we are going to understand. Then there is narrative writing. Okay, so what are the sections, how to write narrative, what are the important things we have to keep in mind while writing narrative? These are all going to be checked during the interviews. And then these are some of the things which I have added from my side, which is not there in the paper, because I want you to be sound enough while doing some practical trainings on the narrative writing, ADR reportings. We are also going to touch the quality part of PV. That is very important, because you never know that where in which particular department of PV you are going to land it up, or what is your interest area. There are many different areas. So quality is another important area where I also served for like couple of years in that particular department. It's very good administrative type of works, but more also related to PV. Then I am going to touch the PV in India, that is PVPI, that how far we are in India right now with the PV, where we are actually standing in the PV. So that is also I'm going to touch. So you can have a all over 360-degree knowledge about the PV. Okay. So this is how we are going to complete this entire course. Again, these topics, whatever you are seeing. So don't worry if you see that, oh, this particular part signal is not showing over here, or RMP is not showing over here. Don't worry, I'm going to cover it up. Apart from that, if you feel that anything is left around, then let me know. We will cover that up also. So don't worry, we are going to cover everything. Okay. Before I switch to our first thing, drug discovery, we are going to start that. today. Let's see that how much we can complete today. Then before starting that, I just start to take a pause in case if anybody wants to ask anything else. Let me see if there is any. Okay. Uh, Thank you, Pankaj. So first thing, difference between PV and CDM. See, these two are fields are very, very different. CDM is a clinical data management that is completely related to more or so related to clinical. Okay, where the clinical data comes up, you are going to put it into the system and you are going to run whatever the statistics, whatever the reports you need to generate. But it is more or so related to the first part of the drug discovery cycle, that is for the clinical trials, where you are actually in that part. Okay, but when you talk about PV is a entire thing where you are actually understanding the adverse event and reporting to the authorities. Okay, so that is the entire thing I'm talking about. So if you are actually doing CDM, you are just in the first part of the drug discovery, that is the clinical trials, understanding the cases, understanding the things, whatever it's coming to you, you are actually data managing everything and running into the softwares, and then you are providing the reports as per the authority required. PV is a different segment. I'm just repeating this whole thing again just to be more clear. PV is another thing where you are in the department where we are actually getting the adverse event reports. You are actually analyzing causality assessment, whatever the procedures you need to do, and you have to report it to the authorities. And also you need to do other activities like aggregate reporting, like signal detections, like the RMPs. All those things need to comes under the bucket of PV. So if you compare those two, I can see CDM is a like child of the clinical trials or the clinical part, and PV is itself a giant on the other side, which is a very different complete department, different thing. That is the very, very like basic and clear difference. So you cannot correlate these two. First. Second thing, career opportunities. I actually, Swati, I'm not sure you if you were there in the last by introduction session. But still, if not, no issues. Pankaj, if you have the recordings, you can share with us, Swati also. So I talked many things about the career opportunities in that session. So usually, there are there are multiple departments in. First of all, there are multiple departments in the PV. It is not like a I can say that a single in silo department that just you need to do this and this is the whole thing about PV. No, PV has a ICSR, PV has a aggregate report, signal detection department is very different, and then RMP, risk management, all is very different. Apart from that, ICSR, there are multiple different type of individual case report safety reporting. There is literature reporting, there is spontaneous reporting, solicit reporting. All these are very different departments. So now all in all you have many departments in particular one company. You cannot go in 10 departments right at one time. Okay, the managers has the authority to hold these departments, but as a associate, as a team member, you need to work either in one department or the another department. So you have a very much potential to go in that different departments to make your career. That's the first thing. Second thing, PV is for the entire PV is going to run for the entire drug life cycle. It starts somewhere when the drug comes into the clinical trial, in the human clinical trial, because any adverse events comes during that time, it also need to be reported. Okay. There are also DSUR and other things which is there in the clinical trial. Those aggregate reports go. However, I can say that 70% or 80% of the PV is actually done after the clinical trials during the post-marketing studies when it actually comes into the real world. At that time, there are adverse event is not going to stop. People are going to face problems. Adverse events going to come, and the same thing the reporting is going to happen. This thing is always goes on till the end of the drug, until unless the drug is withdrawn. And you can see that out of 100, or I can say out of 1000, hardly one drug get withdrawn. This is the ratio. Usually this goes like that. Okay. Uh, Apart from that, I can say that if you compare with other pharma or medical fields like clinical or the manufacturing or the other fields, pharmacovigilance is at the very, very niche stage. Hardly we reached at the 20-30% of this career in the PV till date also. I can say that if anybody started in the 1990s, his career. Okay, and this is a long way to go because till date also the guidelines is every other year, every like this year maybe you find something in there, and after next to next year this whole guideline is going to revise and you will find some new additions. And after that new additions, new things need to be implemented. And every single company with every single drug, even the generic drugs, need to be monitored. That is the regulatory requirement. Now you can understand every drug, and if for every drug you need to do all these activities, now you can understand that how much resource is actually required by the companies. Okay, how many resources they need for every project during every year. This is the main career opportunity I can tell you, or main focus I can tell you, that you need to focus on the things. But the only thing they need to know before taking that, are you sound enough to join their project or to contribute into their project? If yes, then welcome. Believe me. So that is the thing I can tell you. Okay. Uh, Still, Swati, in case if you want, you can connect with Pankaj, and if he can provide you the introduction lecture, because in that I shared a lot of different things introduced with this course and the opportunities uh, about everything I told. Uh, okay, thank you, Pankaj. Um, Sindhuja, Roshan, my doubt is studying about the drugs medication detail. My doubt is, will we be studying about the drugs? Frankly speaking, this is not a pharmacology course, Sindhuja. So I'm not sure if you're from the pharma background, then might be you don't need to even study about the drugs because you already have, or the medical. But this is a PV course. So PV, in that I can, like as per your requirement, others requirement, I can touch the classifications, the drugs in one session entirely, no issues. And that is not a problem. You can have idea, and yes, that is very important. Okay. But we are not going to understand each drug mechanism of action, because that is entire pharmacology. Because that is entire another book. We can say Remington, we have to go back again. Okay, or like that is another Goodman Gilman book we have to understand, to understand every drug, every receptor, how they works and all these things, because that is actually not required in PV in that detail. We need to understand the drugs, we need to understand a bit about all the classification of the drugs, but we don't need to understand their mechanism, their side effects in that detail. Okay. I hope I answered your question. In case Sindhuja, still, if you have the question, don't worry. Maybe not in this session. When we come on the Zoom, when we can easily communicate, you can ask me, like frankly, whatever your question, we will talk. Not an issue. So not an issue. So guys, I'm quickly moving to the another session. That is our first session, drug discovery and development. I can just show you. So we are going to cover drug discovery and then preclinical, clinical, all this, like in the line I'm going to cover. One thing, important thing which I would like to tell you, please don't go with these slides. I'm going to share these slides with Pankaj and with this BCRI. Like you can study, you can understand those things. One thing I would like to tell you, that this course, like whatever we are going to cover, it's written over here, but maybe we are not going in this pattern, whatever it's written in this particular order. Reason being, I want you to understand in a systematic order everything. Okay, so if something comes, like I want to make a good link, so that you need to understand first the basics of PV, then we will move to the regulatory or something like those things, and then we will move to the database, and then we will move to the signals on all these things. So we will maintain a very good link, and then only you can understand the PV, like a Mahabharat or like a Quran, like any other book, that what is actually happening from A to Z. Okay, so this topics is just showing you that what we, all the things we are going to cover. Yeah, I think Shilpi just came. Hello, Shilpi. Uh, so, if anyone can confirm me on the chat box that can you see my drug discovery and development? Right, guys. So let me start. Let me go a bit in this drug discovery thing. Then I will stop, take a pause, and any questions if there is, I'll take it up. Okay. I hope as a person from the life science background, you have a bit idea about the drug discovery and the drug development. So we are not going in the very in the basics of the research or doing the computational CADD type of drug discovery. We are not going in those things. We are just understanding a bit basic what is the chain of in the entire thing, where the clinical comes up and all those things. Maybe we have an idea, but still I would like to take you through with these slides with these things, because we need to actually right now we need a complete a refreshment of this whole thing, because now we are going to hit the industry. So as a refreshment, we need to touch all these topics. We don't want to leave any single minor things. Okay. So welcome to the first lecture, that is drug discovery and development. So the entire, let me take some important questions before we begin. So very easy questions which sometimes comes up, that how long do you think that it takes for a new drug to get approved in the US or any country? US I'm taking because I think 70% or 60% of the stuffs always get approved in the US. Like, everybody want in that market to get it approved. So about 12 to 15 years. The answer is about 12 to 15 years. That's roughly one third duration of the entire professional career of us. It takes. So you can see that in your entire career, you can have only 3 drugs approved. This can easily show the first thing, the same question I'm coming back. What is the career in PV? In your entire career, if you can see just 3 drugs from one company coming up, right? Then how many drugs are going to come up from the other different companies? How many, this things always goes on. Another question, how much investment do you think is required to bring a new drug to market? Approximately $1 billion. Dollars I'm talking about, not rupees, guys. This is the investment any single company is actually putting it up, and that's one of the reasons that in India still no company has their own patent. First of all, they need to take care of the money also. So that's equivalent to the employing 665 plus employees at the salary of 100,000 US dollars for 15 years. This much of money they are actually putting it up. Okay, now approval of a new drug is first, it's a massive undertaking. Second thing is you need to select the right partners to prioritize sync with during this entire process. Third thing is we have to focus on high quality and the fast turnaround. And this also goes a long way to avoid missteps and moving your drug program closer to success. And the whole thing in summation, or about this slide, is that drug discovery is not a easy process. Any company need to think twice to put up a project for doing a drug discovery. Drug discovery goes not only just finding a molecule, but with the clinical trial, with the getting approvals from the different authorities, and then also the very important thing is lifetime pharmacovigilance. You have to put your money, you have to put your time, and that's why these are the important questions which we need to understand first. Because anytime during your future interviews, they can ask you that why PV. Okay, why are the companies are so crazy? Why they are putting so much money in the things? They are putting because that's a business. Yes, that is business, but now you can understand that this business is actually giving us bread and butter, and it's a lifetime bread and butter. Okay. Uh, General overview. So a few things before we will move to the the graphicals and all those understanding things. So complexity in a drug development has increased many folds in the 40 years. In before 40 years or so, the drug discovery and all this process was very quite easy because there were not that much PV, or the clinical research was very easy. All these things were very easy things. Believe me, the steps were very limited. The drugs, the time and the money you need to put is very limited. Now it actually increased manifold. in this last many 40 years or so. Okay. Uh, it requires preclinical testing, IND applications, and complete clinical testing before marketing approval from FDA or other authorities. I'm mostly using FDA, again, the same reason that mostly we are talking about the American market, that is the pioneer always in this thing. Okay. So before this 40 years, these all things or steps were actually not there. PV is hardly 25, 30 years old. Hardly 25 years old, we can say, that it actually began. Okay, clinical research, I can say hardly 40 years old. That is also at the very, like, beginning stage at that time. Okay, then generally new drug NDAs or biologic license applications, that is BLA, we say, are reviewed comprehensively before approval, and then the drug performance is resubmitted to the regulatory agencies for post-marketing studies. So overall in all, in this slide, the main thing is the goal of doing this drug discovery is actually to bring more efficient and safer treatment to the patients and as quickly as possible after a thorough medical evaluation. Okay, that is the important thing of the drug discovery. That is the whole or sole goal of this thing. You can understand from this COVID situation, which is actually ongoing, we all are actually waiting so eagerly to get the medication to vaccine or something in the market that we can go out and play and do whatever our chit chats and our jobs and everything. But they all need to go with this drug discovery cycle, which we are going to understand today. Okay. Why are the new drugs needed? So these are some of the important things which you can tell at any time. That first, there are unmet medical needs. There are new diseases coming up every year. COVID is a very latest example. Never, somebody never know before 10 years that something is going to come where, like, our old parents, they are going to, like, go away from us. So these are the new disease always comes up. And new disease is there, then the new drugs need to be come up. New drugs comes up, new opportunities, job opportunities comes up for the life science people. This is how the career goes on. Low efficacy, the drugs which are there already in the market, maybe they are not efficacious. Antibiotic is a very good example. You can understand if you are from the pharma background or medical that we had the first, second, third, I think, I'm not sure because I have not touched that much pharma studies actually in last 5-10 years, believe me. So if there is any fourth generation antibiotic came, but this is how the like cancer drugs, before 40 years hardly we have few cancer drugs, right? Now we have so many cancer drugs, anti, like this anti-neoplastic drugs. So this is how the low efficacy drugs are there, and we always need a good high efficacy and safer medication every time. Antihistamine is very good example. I remember that down the line 20 years ago we used to use some other antihistamines. Now there are other antihistamines which we are using. Okay. Side effects, many, the same example I'm using, the antihistamines which we were using 20 years ago were having so many side effects like drowsiness and all those other things. But now which the new generation drugs are actually having those side effects at the very minimal level, very minimal. So that is also things we can like we need to consider while going for a drug discovery. Okay, another thing which we need to important part is the cost of therapy. So cost of therapy is another thing which usually, like the company puts up in front of the regulatory bodies when they are putting that why you want to go for this drug if something is already there in the market. You can say that this the like the manufacturing is cheaper, the raw material is cheaper, and it is also the new product with the less side effects. All this thing when you're putting it up, that makes your product at a strong level, that yes, this product is good. And also when somebody, the patient comes up to purchase the drug, they definitely check for the cost of therapy, right? If your therapy is the very new one and also at the cheaper price, why not I go for this one? So cost of therapy, anti-cancer is one of the important thing. Everybody, like nobody wants to have this thing in the family. They even can't think that somebody in the family can have cancer. But yes, if somebody have, then definitely you know that how the medication cost actually comes up. For long-term ongoing disease like diabetes, asthma, etc., you need to also understand the cost of therapy because these are all ongoing drugs. You cannot afford the costly medications. Then sustain industrial activity. Okay, pharmaceutical industry employs thousands and makes a massive contribution to overseas earning. That is also they need to understand. Okay, but a patent expiry is very important. Okay, I gave the example, good example about Rivashio and Viagra in my introduction session. The same example I can provide over here that a company is actually like always looking for the new patents if they are a like brand company like uh, um, so patent expiry I am just giving example of Rivashio and then that Viagra thing.
मतलब हाँ
So patent expiry, I was telling you that Rivashi and Viagra I was giving you example. So one drug is actually going to be expired. Company which actually put so much money behind the clinical trial drug discovery, they don't want to go out of the drug because yes, the patent is about to expire. So company starts thinking from the perspective that is there any other side effect which can be actually made as a pharmacological application of that new drug. Is there anything else we can just do some changes, a bit of little bit clinical trials, and then we can come up with the new patent. And this the good example is Rivashio to Viagra. Rivashio was about to expire, and company has so much information from the pharmacovigilance done on Rivashio that it is a good. It can be used as a erectile dysfunction treatment. So as soon as the patent get expire, before even I think 1 year or 2 years, they already put up the Viagra in the market for the same sildenafil titrate as a salt, that particular medical drug. Actually, they used and the same thing they put it up in the different dose, change the dose with the new with the new pharmaceutical action, that pharmacological action. They put up the new drug with next 20 years of patent. Now you can understand that 40 years you are earning from the same molecule. So this is how patent expiry is also they need to keep up in the mind. Examples of some expensive drugs around the world you can see that Lipitor for high cholesterol. Okay, if somebody in family is taking it is $1,500 per year. Okay, so we need to think about alternative versions. Okay, so people are taking simvastatin, lovastatin, all other statins. Zyprexa is another psychotic drug, antipsychotic drug. Okay, it's seizure for schizophrenic people. You can see 7,000 a year, $7,000 a year. That much you have to throw up if you want this drug. Evastatin for cancer, 50,000 a year. I remember I was in the US. I was in the pharmacy. I saw the peoples who are actually coming for Evastatin. Yes, there were insurance. That's why they can afford it. Otherwise, it's very hard to afford these types of drug. But because of this, we need the alternatives. We need the development to go on. And that's why the drug discovery always goes on. Okay. So this is just the basic. Let me show you the drug discovery and development cycle. I hope that maybe you all are aware about it, but let's go again. So first of all, the first thing it says discovery and development. Actually, I can say only that drug discovery is the first part. Development actually takes care during the preclinical, clinical. That time is a development time. Okay, till the FDA review. Once you are in the FDA review, once you that is time you are actually your application is getting scrutinized, and after that you get the approval, and finally it goes into the market, and then the hardcore PV starts at that time. Okay, but also during the development phase, that is the clinical development, I mainly the PV actually starts there on. Okay, how I will tell you later. So this is the cycle of the drug discovery and development entire till we reach to the post-marketing phase. Okay, now this is how in summarized form I can tell you that the creation of new drugs. So drug discovery research is basically the identification of a potential therapeutic target, selection of a single molecule for testing in humans, Then comes the drug development, which I told you. It's a preclinical phase and the clinical phase. Basically, in that, the preclinical studies that support the initial clinical trials through the approvals of the drug by the regulatory authorities. So we are actually doing the trials on animals and then in the clinical trial on the humans, and then we have enough data to show that yes, we developed a good drug. We discovered and then we developed, we showed it to the regulatory authorities, and once we show it and we get the approval, then it go for the market. That is the commercialization phase, that is product sales as per the therapeutic application. For whatever application you get your product authorized, you can sell the drug in the market, and the PV mainly starts over here as 80% of the PV, you can say. Okay. uh, okay, this picture, let me just show you. The same thing is there. That is, you can see first those this hexagonal things. Discovery, then it goes to the preclinical. Once preclinical is done, so before we start the study in human, we file for the IND application. I think if you are actually following the market and all those pharma companies, every year many companies are filing IND applications, that they are actually going for the clinical research in human for their drug. Example, COVID, I think many companies already filed in last few months IND application that they are going for the human trials. Okay, then phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, these are the main phases of the clinical trial. Phase 3 is again get bifurcated into 3A and 3B. We will see afterwards. So discovery is basically the gene identification or the target identification. We got the hits, we got the leads, those important things we are going to get during the discovery, that what are the our refined molecules which we are going to test into the animals. Okay, during the preclinical stage we are going to basically do the screening and optimization of the candidates or the drugs which we actually finalize those candidates. We are going to do the another level of screening. We are also going to do the in vitro in vivo type of studies on animals. Okay, rodents, non-rodents, on those. So these are animal models. And then after that, we are going to file the IND application that yes, our drug is actually safer and efficacious in the animals. Can we go for the human trials? So company submits this application and FDA evaluates the quality of the data and determines if therapy can be tested in humans or not. If yes, then you get the approval and then your clinical trial starts. This is another important phase of the drug discovery cycle. So around 5 to 6 years or 4 to 6 years, it usually takes in this particular cycle. That is the clinical trial phase 1 to phase 3A or 3B. Okay, but don't just go with this COVID type of trials. These are called as super fast trials because this is because a requirement. This is we can say this is the requirement of time right now. At this moment we just need the medication, the world needs the medication. That is why every country, every authority is like minimizing time like anything. They just want the drug and some data, safer and efficacious medication data. Okay, that's why. But usually in a normal scale, if you are going to test any NSAIDs or any neoplastic drugs, anything like those drugs, you need to go with the entire cycle. And finally, you can see that first we are going to focus on safety monitoring. In the second, safety and efficacy, we can say. Third is basically we evaluate in the larger population. In the third stage, multiple level of clinical trials usually we are doing multiple sites. Okay, so this is how the drug discovery and development cycle goes on. The basics. Uh, this is this screen is actually showing you the same thing but in the form of compounds. Okay, now you can see that company is actually not just thinking about that, oh, we got the one compound, let's just try it and give a give a good try and maybe this can going to be successful. This is not a joke. Actually they are putting more than $1 billion in that. So they first need to come up with 10,000 or more than that. I remember when I was reading some article, it was showing me that Pfizer a few years ago, actually this article came and I was reading. It was saying that for one of the drug, which for the Pfizer, which is, they are going for the clinical trial testing. They begin with the 15,000 molecules during the, like, screening first stage. So during that discovery stage, you need to have these many compounds with different of structural things, and that needs to go into the different screening, high throughput screening, to get filtered to minimum 250 or so. I cannot, like, say exact number, but around 250 or so compounds, like, comes up from this filter zone. Now, after that, after the preclinical testing, you will understand that, oh, these many are not safer or efficacious, or these things are going to happen. Then you only remain with the five or so compounds somewhere in the clinical trial, maybe less than five. Okay, and you can see the time period also on the bottom. Okay, first two stages may take 5 to 6.5 years, but the next takes around 5 to 7 years. Okay, clinical trial. That is a very important, side, and with the limited number of molecules, only hardly five compounds we are going to test. Okay, then there is going to be the NDA application, where we are going to file the drug application for the post marketing, that is the FDA review or regulatory authority review. They are going to review if your drug is actually good in human, all the tests are good, safer, efficacious, risk benefit cycle, they are going to evaluate, and then they are going to approve the drug. This is the entire drug and development cycle. Okay, you can see the timings, you can see the compounds, have a good idea about it. And this is actually what is really going on during the COVID drug also. Okay. Um, Similar thing, but in a bit detail. You can see also I'm going to touch each separate section in detail after this, don't worry. So this is the early drug discovery. You can see the very first stage during the drug discovery. We are going for the target identification, validation, hit discovery. There are multiple assays, bioassays, screenings are going to be done. High throughput screening is going to be done on those candidates, and we are going to have, we already have, some hits over there, and now we are going to have some leads, hit to lead. So we have the lead, then there is going to be optimization. We are going to optimize those leads to get more efficacious or safer leads. Okay, with this, after this process, we move to the preclinical stage. In preclinical, it usually goes in the animal testing basically, and those pharmacological activity and the toxicological things we need to check. In vivo, in vitro, ex vivo assays, ADME, proof of concepts, drug delivery, formulation, optimization, and bioavailability, dose range, finding IND, enabling studies, IND application. All those are going to, IND is actually next stage, but all these other things we are going to do it in the preclinical. Okay. Once this stage is done, we are going to file the IND application. Then we got the approval. We will move to the clinical development, a very important stage of the drug discovery life cycle. Believe me, this is where everybody just pray to the God that our drug actually pass through this thing. Okay, where you can also reading those every day, the newspapers and the things comes up every day in the morning, that which drug is actually leading, which company is leading with the molecule. One of our pharmaceutical company, they just got few days ago, they just our DCGI, they told they stop the clinical trial, and now they just allow again. This is how the clinical trial goes. You have one death or two death, you have to report it, and then maybe there is going to be some harsh action. So that's why this is very important stage. You are going to have the phase 1, that is healthy volunteer study. Phase 2, phase 3, that is the study in the patient population. So in that we are going to do the disease people also, like, along with the healthy. Phase 3 is majorly multiple site. Dose escalation, single ascending, and multiple dose studies. We are going to do all these different types of studies. Safety and efficacy is another important thing. Pharmacokinetic analysis we are going to do. Bioanalytical method development and validation, all those analysis is going to do in the parallel. Okay, once we have a good sufficient data, we have to file the NDA or ANDA or BLA, whatever the application, whatever the drug you have, we have to file all those applications. Okay, we got the FDA approval, we got the drug registration, and with that, we got our registration number. The drug can easily be marketed. Post-marketing, it shows FAERS. FAERS is basically FDA Adverse Event Reporting System that is in the US. In different companies, there are different reporting systems. Like in UK, there is the yellow card scheme. Okay, similar way, there are different systems are there. However, all have the same backbone, all have the same concept, all have the same thing, basic thing. I'm going to tell you that how they originated or what is actually the backbone of, like, all these different forms. That is also we are going to understand. So don't worry about that last blue color part. We will first focus on this till orange, that is till the FDA approval. And in this entire first session, then we will go for the this blue part, that is our main post marketing part. Okay. uh I think we can cover few slides in this. So now, after understanding the all about the drug discovery and development, let me go in bit a detail with the drug discovery. Okay, with the first basic things. Okay. Frankly, I have taken this few things from internet, those Google things, because this thing actually looks me very good to, like, to show you that how this entire process goes on. Okay. The very first picture, you can see that it is an entire process till clinical trial phase 4, that is post marketing surveillance, from the target selection and validation. Okay, so this is, and in this side you can see that how many steps are there in the drug discovery and research: preclinical part, clinical, and regulatory approval, and post marketing. Okay, now this first part, that is the drug discovery, if I zoom in, okay, then you can see that these are the important steps which are going to be there in the drug discovery. Okay, if you go and ask anybody who is doing drug discovery, then you will you will see all these steps. They are going to first see the target. Believe me, they are going to first do the target identification, whatever their goal, which receptor they need to act, their drug need to act, where, which protein they need to affect. All those things, it comes first in the mind. Okay. Those after target identification, they do the validation check of the target, and they do some assay developments on those candidates, whatever they have, or to check if they are working on those targets or not. There are some high throughput screening. Screening is like a filtering process. They are going to do those filtering process for whatever their 20-25,000 molecules maybe, or 10,000 molecules. They do the screening process to come down and down and down. They come with some hits. Hits are those primary molecules which are actually showing some potency, which are showing some good effects. Okay, and then they again go for some other testings, other screenings, which is actually lead confirmation. So they are actually getting those important molecules called as leads, which are actually final, those 250 molecules. Once they got these leads, they actually do the lead optimization. And I'm sorry, over here, after doing the lead optimization, we check and we come up with the final drug candidates, which are actually ready to go in the preclinical stage after the approvals. Okay, there are also some biological testing can be done again. This is and if it is not successful, the cycle repeats with the lead optimization. They optimize again and again. So this is the small cycle which can be happen at that time. Okay, so this is a complete picturistic view where you can just keep this picture in mind while answering any question. That's why I just put it instead of going much in the word. So, but still, I'm going 1-2 line on each single thing about target identification, validation, and all those things. Okay. Drug discovery process. So basically, like all the pharmaceutical and biotechnological and academic and those government laboratories, they identify or screen the compounds, as I just mentioned you, for this whole process to come up with those potential active therapeutic agents. Okay, so that is the basic drug discovery process. They have some compound, they know the target where they need to check. So those target identification is going to done. They try those compounds, whatever the candidates they have, then they filter it out, they do the screening and all those things to get some potentially active therapeutic compound. Okay, that is the main purpose of drug discovery. Target identification validation, the our first thing which we understand. Target is nothing, it's actually the molecular recognition site to which the drug binds. If it is a receptor, so it's a receptor, it can be protein, it can be anything, because any drug need to bind on that site to act. Okay, so that is the target, basically, the site. Target identification finds a gene or protein therapeutic agent that plays a significant role in disease. Okay, we can take any example, anything, uh, uh, whatever it comes to your mind. Okay, just think about any disease, you will automatically come up that there is, like, there is some protein or some receptor is there which may need to be, like, where the drug need to act to show the pharmaceutical action. So that is basically the target. So they do the target identification. Targets are, again, efficacious, safe, usable as drugs, and capable of meeting the clinical and commercial requirements. Researchers use disease association, bioactive molecules, cell-based models, proteins, interactions, signaling pathway analysis. Okay, all these different analysis their researchers are actually doing to validate the targets. If the targets are really, this is the target where the drug need to work on for this particular disease or not, they need to validate it. Okay. Uh, Again, that same thing, the target validation part. So this is basically is experimental approach. Target validation is nothing, it's an experimental approach by which a potential drug target actually further get tested so that they can have the 100% assurance that this is our target. These are few examples of target. It can be protein molecule, a receptor, enzyme, transport molecule, ion channel, tubulin, immunophile. uh, I'm not sure if you are following daily news and all those things, but a few days ago, I saw one of the news channel and it was actually showing in detail about the COVID-19 vaccines or the drugs, that how they can act. Like all these different companies are actually making, all the different countries have many different pharmaceutical companies which actually want to grab this opportunity to create a good drug so that they can earn a good $1 billion, right? So, but they are not targeting only with one particular fundamental or one target. Believe me, they are not going with that goal. They are, it was shown in the television, that news channel, that there are like 5 or 6 different ways that these companies are actually targeting to provide the medication. Some are going by another, some can act by one way, some can act by another way, some can act by third way. So let's see which comes first and which can show a good action. So this is how I'm just giving example, this is how there are many targets. Okay, now company need to first identify the main target where they can, where the drug can show the good action. Okay. uh, let me, okay, let me see, 1 second, I don't want you to also be late. Okay, guys, so let me see, there are a few things, I think preclinical studies, there are 2 or 3 slides. I will continue with this same. I think because I have this target that it will take around 3 to 4 days to complete this entire thing. That is what I am actually keeping, because I don't want to go in a very fast mode, because the basics you need to have, not only this but also PV basics, we need to have a very clear understanding. After that we can keep up our pace as per our time, whatever time we are left with. Um, I have not introduced myself in the very beginning because I have already gave my introduction session before. So guys, I am actually in this field since last 10 plus years in this PV industry basically, or in the clinical research also, but mainly PV. I'm also postgraduate or certified in this pharmacovigilance and clinical research. Apart from that, I have masters in pharmaceutics and overall more than 14 years of experience in pharma industry. It includes not only PV but others also. So this is my entire experience. In that whole time, I served many different roles, starting from those associate, the beginner roles, till the team leads, the project manager, project lead, business client relationship manager, quality lead, and also the group leads. I worked in clinical research, CROs, and also the IT companies in the life science domains. So these all the things I worked in very different departments. So not only one skill, I target my career in the different skills. Yes, but focus more also on the pharmacovigilance. So this is my entire thing. Still, I think when we are going to be in the another class, maybe we go with a Zoom session or so that we can interact more and you can ask me whatever the questions you have in that way. Any questions before I stop here and we will continue from the hit discovery process? So any questions, guys, before we start again on Monday from there where we left? So I'll just check. Allow me 1 minute. Let me check the chat box. Hits and leads. Swati, hits and leads. Let me actually, okay, let me take it. Um, it's a bit, again, these slides will take some time because I usually go in explanation. Okay, in one line, I can say that hits are the first molecule. So if you are actually like if you have 10,000 molecules, so you are going to check and you will find that okay, I even not 10,000 example, let's take 25,000. Okay, you have 25,000 in your mind. Now you got the target, you tried on the target, you find that there are 10,000 molecules which are somewhere or other way, a bit related to the target, which are actually sticking, binding to the target and may show, may not show action. So these are all hits. Okay, once it get further screened, there are many types of screening which need to be done. So once you do all those screening, those high throughput screening, and then you come up with some efficacious, safer compounds which can show some potential action to work and to show you what actually is desired. Those are the leads. Okay. Also, after that, we are going to further do some more screening to filter out further more to come up those 250 or 200 final compounds. Those are called as final drug candidates, which are actually we need to file the IND. So this is in a very short I can tell you. But don't worry, we will go stage by stage, all these things. Anything else? Yes. And hopefully next time when we will meet, if there's a Zoom session, then definitely we will interact with each other, and I am going to again ask you all of you about yourself a bit so that I can also understand your expectations. So any question, anything else before we end up today's session? I don't want to make yourself also late. Okay, I hope Pankaj, if I'm audible, I hope that we can wrap up today's session, and I'm going to continue from the same where I left. Once it is done, then I'll share the slides in the PDF version or so to the students. Or if there may be some guest candidates, I'm not sure. Pankaj just told me about this. Some of you. So if some of you are the guest candidates over here, then I again welcome you all and to this course. And I hope you all like this course. Believe me, this is going to be one of the best session of your life because we are going with all the different things one by one, different topics. So we will understand PV in so much depth that by that time you will cover this entire thing. But you will have so much knowledge that you can just want to give a try in all the industries, all the positions where you can, so that you can grab that opportunity easily. Believe me. So in case if any one of you are still thinking this way, that way, so again, take your time. But believe me, this is going to be the very interesting session. That's one thing I can tell you. Again, all of you, thank you for coming for this session, and you guys all have a nice weekend. I'll see you on Monday.